Hi, my name is Jacob Schultz, and today I'm going to be discussing a misconception that I was told profusely by various coaches in high school. So, this misconception is the one commonly spread in many sports that it is not beneficial for athletes of primarily endurance-based sports to practice resistance training of any form. So, I know that this was a belief of coaches I've had in the past for tennis, as well as other sports such as running, dance, gymnastics, where basically the coaches believe that it is actually not beneficial, maybe even harmful for their athletes to participate in either calisthenics, weight-based strength training, any form of resistance training. So today I'm going to discuss why that is a misconception that's not true. I'm going to show some sources that list reasons for why it actually is beneficial for every athlete to strength train. And so I will share my screen right now and discuss those sources. So I can't. Okay, one second. So right here I have the effect of strength training on performance in endurance athletes. So for this, I actually wasn't able to get the full article. It is from PubMed, but I did read through this little snippet here, and I found this interesting. So the results of this study, where they're measuring, I think, VO2 max and a few other indicators of overall health, the results showed that strength training improved time trial performance, economy, basically a runner's efficiency or a cycler's efficiency in their movement, and VMART in competitive endurance athletes. So this is just one little study, not too much, but the really interesting study that I found was right here, where it was also discussing endurance athletes. And they also tested VO2 max. They had a few different groups. One group where they didn't do any resistance training. All these runners were the same running level. And they had, I think it's like a 12-week program where one group did no resistance training, one group did resistance training. I think another group did a different form of resistance training. But what they were discussing here is that strength training has been reported to increase, I don't know how to say that, tendinous unit stiffness, which results in the enhanced ability to store elastic energy in the series and a parallel elastic component during eccentric muscle actions, which in turn increases muscle force. So this once again goes back to the running and cycling economy, and they even discuss cross-country skiing here, basically the efficiency of an endurance athlete's movement. So they found that through strength training, they can increase one's VO2 max, as well as just increasing their overall explosive power and various other indicators of a runner or cycler's health or an endurance athlete. And then the final study that I did look at was looking at specifically adolescent dancers. And this one was really interesting to me because their program was primarily calisthenics, I believe. Yeah, I think almost all calisthenics. And yet they found some really interesting stuff. So they really discussed the enhanced balance that these dancers found during this program. They also discussed how the current results and those of previous studies indicate that strength, power, and dancing ability can be improved through resistance training without contributing to significant muscular hypertrophy. So this is important because many of the myths that I've heard and that my sister as a dancer heard from her coaches were that you don't want resistance training because you don't want to get too bulky, right? They don't want them to lose their form because um, that can negatively impact their performance on the stage, right? They have to have some elegance or whatever the judges want, right? So this was really interesting because they showed in this study that their BMI actually didn't have a big increase in terms of musculature of their body. They really just found that there was increased strength, power, and even dancing ability without a big increase in muscle size, which, some people want big increases in much muscle size, but other sports, of course, do want to remain slender, which is why they wouldn't want muscle hypertrophy. So this was a really interesting part of the study I found. Yeah, stop screen sharing here. So overall, based on these three studies that I found, I think it is fair to say that these sports should not be discouraged from strength training. It showed in the studies, I didn't go through them entirely, but it did show in the studies that it does Strength training very much so prevents injury. It improves agility. It improves so many aspects that I think are overlooked by coaches because they focus primarily on endurance and just the skills of that sport. Whenever it's really important for every athlete of every sport to have a good base of strength training. I think that's very crucial. So um, I think that it's important that coaches understand that these studies are not saying that every athlete needs to train like a bodybuilder, right? We're not trying to maximize muscle hypertrophy. We're not trying to just get super big or swole or anything like that, right? We really, with this, we want to prevent injury. We want to create a foundation of strength for these athletes. So it's very important that coaches continue to promote endurance style training for these sports because, of course, they are very cardiovascular demanding sports as well as strength training. I think there's a balance between them that are very much needed. And one more thing I want to touch on from a sports psychology perspective, strength training provides a lot of benefits. It can bond a team together. It's a new experience for the team. It creates new challenges for them and even the coach as well to all bond together under this something that can be difficult or at least new to a team. And I think that that provides many benefits that weren't discussed in those studies. So that is it for today. Those are the sources showing why it is important for every athlete, no matter the sport, to participate in some form of either calisthenics, weight, strength training, just any form of resistance training.